That's interesting because I agree with you completely, and I think the evidence shows it. But look at what is going on in Shanghai right now. They are in the midst of a massive lockdown, and people there are jumping out of buildings. I mean, there's mass hysteria going on in Shanghai now.
It's shocking, and I read a piece that the Chinese government had sort of conceded that lockdowns really weren't an effective measure. And seeing what's happened in Shanghai over the last 30 days or so, I'm stunned. I just can't get over it at this point. Yeah, you're right.
Tell us the data. I mean, maybe there was good intentions with these lockdowns. Maybe they thought that they would be effective, but not only did it not really work, but also the toll was tremendous as far as mental health, as far as economic activity. I mean, there were some real consequences to the lockdowns.
Yeah, so the WHO and the CDC had created playbooks prior to COVID-19 on how to handle a pandemic influenza. And the most noteworthy things were possibly closing schools for 3 to 4 weeks at peak community spread, and then possibly wearing masks, face masks, if you were symptomatic and you go in public, or if you're sick, and self-isolation if you're sick, which that one makes sense. And the assumption was that kids would be the primary spreaders and most impacted by this. So we got kind of lucky with this one with kids. They really weren't effective transmitters, and they really weren't that susceptible to this at all. So that part of it was really good. And yet we kind of threw those playbooks down. It's sort of like, the Saints getting to the Super Bowl and throwing out their playbook, right? And they just start to sling away in the final game. And so it's very mystifying to me how all this kind of went down. And then 2 years later, we still have universities that are requiring masks. I just saw this Columbia, Rice is doing that. And a number of schools are requiring boosters for, healthy college kids, which would be at virtually zero risk of COVID and less risk
Right.
than if they were unvaccinated, less risk than vaccinated me. And I'm a healthy 55-year-old.